How's it going, everyone? I want to give my impressions on the new Hitman reboot, more specifically, episode 1 of the Hitman reboot. And what you guys are watching right now is PC footage. I was actually given a review code to review the game, so I now have a responsibility to give you guys my impressions on each episode of the game, and then we're going to end it off with the final episode, giving my overall impressions on the Hitman reboot. So looking forward to that. There should be releasing new episodes every single month, I believe until September or October, from what I believe. For those of you guys who are waiting on disc, it has been delayed to January 2017, if you didn't know, but you will be able to pick up all the content at one point, just in about a year or so. All right, so let's talk about episode 1. Episode 1 takes place in Paris at some fashion event it's kind of like a privately held fashion event that's very formal at this big palace in Paris, and it gives you a really great level to explore. And what really shines here, of course, is the level design. Now, with every stealth game, level design comes at a huge importance. You have to give the player many different ways to get to his or her objective, and you have to basically design everything to account for every single situation. And the level design here in episode 1 is just fantastic. There's so many different ways to explore and go do the things that you want to do, and it doesn't really limit you in how you're supposed to do that. It's really a carve your own path style of game. So you have this large palace that you're able to explore. And I'm not just talking about it's a few floors or whatever. It's literally acres of property here that you can explore at your own disposal. And it's amazing. I mean, the palace itself is comprised of a dungeon. I say dungeon, but like an underground area. Then you have like a main floor, you have a second floor, and then you have a third floor on top of that, and an attic. And so you have just the palace alone has like 4 or 5 different floors that you can explore throughout it, and each of these floors have rendered rooms that you can explore and go into. Different people interacting and doing different things all at one time. There's some security cameras on this second floor. It really is just a game that's just like, it kind of blows your mind. It's like, wow, it's so overwhelming. And especially when they drop you into this level, it's so overwhelming at one time. It's just crazy. And so that's not all, though, to talk about the level design, because you also have a whole garden area to explore, like a gazebo, and you have, there's like a helicopter in the back of it, but then there's like cranes and construction equipment that you can use at your disposal. There's so much. And so you may be looking, at a general level in Hitman, and they may just be like, okay, it's just one large property, but this property is so dense and there's so many places for you to explore that it's mind-numbing at times. I played around 15 hours of episode 1, all right? 15 hours. And I still haven't completed everything that I want to do. There's different challenges and things like that I want to, take part in and complete. And it's just, this is a game that I have a feeling by the time all the episodes are out, I would have had spent, like 100 hours into. And that's not like a small statement. That's not like a projection. I can easily see myself spending close to 100 hours, if not more so, in this entire series. So many areas to explore. And again, the game gives you great incentive to go back and replay it, which is awesome. Because you get challenges and objectives in your level, you can go back and replay them constantly, and you feel like you have a purpose in replaying them. It's not like, okay, I just want to waste my time and have fun. Okay, I just did this level again, that was cool, I'll just I'll replay it down the road. It's the same thing. It's not like that with this. Tons of ways that you can kill your targets, tons of areas to explore, and each time you replay it, and I probably replayed it about a dozen times, each time felt different from the last. What's also great is that you can actually plan your missions ahead of time. So you can go in and choose how you look. You can go in you can actually start at different locations. Like you can start, in the case of this level, you can start in the attic, like undercover. You can start as a waiter, again undercover. You can start in the dungeon area undercover as a security guard. You can start as all these different areas, and you can also actually hide weapons in certain areas. Like you can make like a dead drop basically, and so you can basically say, okay, I want to pick up a sniper rifle at this location, and so you would walk over to that location in the game. You would pick up your sniper rifle or whatever weapon that you want, and you would go up and be able to use it that way. You can also have a loadout of one pistol and two I guess you can call them two gadgets. So you will unlock different weapons as you progress through the game, by the way. So it's not like, okay, you just have one pistol or you just have one assault rifle or one sniper rifle. You have many different weapons, many different tiers of weapons, and you unlock them as you play more in the game. As you replay the levels, you unlock different spawn points. You'll unlock different areas to conceal, or different dead drop locations so you can pick up your weapons. Different areas to explore all around, and you'll be unlocking this as you play further in the game, which is just fantastic. So in April we're going to be getting a new location. I guess we're going to be releasing the series monthly, and so in April we're supposed to get a location in Italy. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's going to be pretty exciting. And I'm sure from what I've seen in the trailers and things like that, each episode looks and feels different from the last. It doesn't all have like a very similar kind of thing. They're not all, they're not all going to be palaces or all urban locations. You're going to have these very exotic locations and sometimes very open locations, but sometimes very close locations as well. And so I'm really looking forward to the future locations and the future episodes that this series is going to bring us. And Italy should be cool looking at that. Now, I do want to touch about I do want to touch on one topic. Excuse me. This game forces you to connect to a multiplayer server. It's not required that you play the game online, but the game forces you right out of the box. Like when you enter the main menu, it will automatically connect you to a server. In fact, the first time I booted it up, a pop-up came on screen, and it was like, Hitman is a game that is better when played online, or it said like Hitman is designed to be played online. It said something like that, like it was enticing, like it had to be this way, right? Here's my issue so far, and I wouldn't have an issue if I didn't experience this, but the problem is that when you're doing like your episode, and you're walking around the levels, right? And this happened to me twice. I was booted out of episode 1 because the servers went down, or there was a connection error. And it is so incredibly frustrating to be playing a game, enjoying a game, especially a game like Hitman where you're planning things out and everything takes time. It is so incredibly frustrating to be playing the game and then all of a sudden you booted back to the main menu. Oh, couldn't connect to the server, sorry. So why does it connect you to the server? Because this isn't technically a multiplayer game, right? It connects you to the server because it tracks your challenges and your stats, and it compares it with the rest of the world. The challenges are the objectives and the different ways in which you can complete, your kills and things like that. It's basically a set of different ways in which you can do the mission. The problem is you have to be connected online in order to get access to the challenges, which kind of baffles me, to be honest with you, because there's really no point in doing that. In fact, I played the game offline when the servers went offline for the game on launch day later that day. I continued to play the game offline, only to find out that it doesn't save your progress when you're playing offline at all, which is even more incredibly frustrating. I mean, it's just really just it pisses you off, especially when you're booted out of the game. That just above pisses you off. So They claimed they said that you didn't need an internet connection to play the game, and they're right. You really don't need an internet connection to play the game, but to experience the game in its fullest, and I personally believe to experience the game in its best possible way, you are forced to connect online. Without the challenges, which you have to be online to have access to, without the challenges, this game has zero replayability factor whatsoever. The challenges are what gives you the incentive to replay the game or to replay the levels constantly. That's what the challenges do. But if you don't have access to the challenges, then there's really no point, So that's a big frustration of mine. Now, they're going to be having these exclusive targets, and apparently one is coming up sometime this week. And these exclusive targets are only going to be available for 48 hours on a given on a given set date, right? So you're gonna have 48 hours to kill this target or to take this target out. It's some mystery target that the developers are gonna keep updating every now and then again. I don't know how this is gonna translate into the physical disc retail version. I think it just won't. To be honest, I think those of you who buy it on the disc retail and who aren't participating in the game right now are gonna get a half-assed game. I honestly believe that because you're going to miss out on exclusive contracts. You, if you're looking for an offline experience, you're not going to find it here. Really, it kind of sucks. It really does. But I wonder what the point is going to be when you put in a disc, and after the season has concluded. What is the point to be connected online? Because they're not going to be updating it with exclusive contracts. And you're going to be kind of late to the party in the first place. So I don't know whether the retail version of the game will somehow be magically different. But again, if you're not connected online, you don't have challenges to complete, which pretty much destroy the replayability of the game. And you won't have access to exclusive contracts. And so really when you're buying the retail version of the game, yes, you're getting a tangible physical copy, but you're also getting, I think, a much more incomplete experience, to be honest with you guys. And I would recommend, personally, for this reason alone, that if you're even interested in Hitman, get it now. I know it's digital, I know it's episodic, and not everyone will like that. But again, you would get an overall more complete experience in the end if you buy it episodically rather than all on disc retail, because again, this game is going to be updating with contracts and different exclusive things for you to do. They're going to be constantly giving things to you over time, and different objectives will only be completable during a set time frame. That will be much before the season concludes, and it probably won't be available after the season concludes, and won't be available on disc certainly. So just take note of that. Lastly, I want to talk about the episodic format of the game and my feelings on it. All right, I don't mind it, and the reason why I don't mind it is because for this type of style of game, it works. For this type of style of game where you're going to be constantly replaying levels to try and complete your objectives, the episodic format works well. I know that Hitman was always a AAA full release, in its entirety right from the get-go. I understand that, and I can definitely understand why some people are just annoyed about how the game goes physical. But playing the game, I think it makes a lot of sense, because in a typical game where you have all the content handed to you, when you complete a level, you move on with the story and you go to the next level. Then you complete that level and you move on to the story and go to the next level and move, vice versa, so on and so forth. With an episodic format, you don't have the immediate option to continue forward with your story. And so you are encouraged to constantly replay the levels to unlock better gear, to increase your max ranking, to compete with your friends and leaderboards. And you don't have that, basically. You don't have that when you have a full game. You just have a story that you follow through and you complete, and then that's it, right? Sure, you may return to the game after you complete it and go back and replay the levels. But that may be months later, and you may not have enough time to do that right off the bat. Someone like me, when I beat a game, I'm pretty much done with it. As soon as those credits roll, I'm done with that game. Unless there's like a multiplayer mode that I'm even interested in, I'm usually on to the next game. I have a backlog of games here, and I can't afford to spend most of my time constantly playing a game, constantly. I just can't do it. I'll put a lot of time into one game, but once I beat that game, I have to move on to the next one. I just have too many games to play. I have too many games to get to, too many experiences that I want to experience. With this episodic format, I could take my time with episode 1. I have a full month before episode 2 releases, and I can constantly replay the levels and complete all the objectives and do it in the way it's meant to be done, and I have time to do that. You have plenty of time to do that because you don't have this option to continue forward. And so the game encourages this constant replayability, and that constant replayability actually gives you better weapons, better tools at your disposal, different ways that you can spawn at the locations and take out your targets. It opens the door up more so. And so that's why I really like the episodic format for this game. I just think for the type of style that this game is, it works well. Now, am I a fan of the episodic format as a whole? I don't really have any bad feelings towards it. There have been some great games, personally games that I played that I would think were game of the year, that were episodic games, but it's not. I understand that in Hitman's case, this is a AAA game gone episodic, and so it's much different. It's much different than before. So just understand, that for this type of style of game where you're going to be constantly replaying through levels, it makes sense for an episodic format. If you can see it in that perspective, I think it may make more sense to you as to why they decided to go this route. So that's my overall opinion on the episodic format for the game. I don't mind it, I understand it, and I think it works well in this case. All right. I'll just touch up on quickly a quick question that a lot of people ask. A lot of people ask if there's a story with this Hitman. Yes. So far, there hasn't been anything amazing. It's just kind of moving along. From what I can tell, the story is going to have a main villain, and that's going to be kind of, taunting you as you go through your adventure here. So we're going to see. But so far, the story hasn't necessarily grabbed my attention. This game is all about its gameplay, and it's doing tremendous so far. I actually do hope the story does pick up, because I think Hitman Absolution had a fantastic story. And so I really have faith in IO Interactive to put forward a good story in this game. So those are my feelings on episode 1 of Hitman. I think it's in every way, shape, and form better than Absolution, and this is coming from someone who absolutely loved Absolution. But I think I understand now where old school Hitman fans are coming from with the large levels. I understand it completely now. I think this game is tremendous. This is only the first episode, but I'm super excited to see where it goes next and to see all the different opportunities, and looking forward to plopping tens of hours, if not over 100 hours in this game by the time it's completed. Have a good one, guys. Let me know what you guys think in terms of the episode if you played it already. For those of you guys who are curious in more gameplay, I'm going to be having a full ghost walkthrough with using my suit, like not using any disguises. I'm going to have that going up sometime this week. I'm going to do a guns blazing run through of this episode. And I'm also going to be doing the exclusive contract whenever he or she goes live for me to take down. All right. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for watching, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.